is timely and relevant, as it highlights the interaction between language, literature, technology, and global perspectives. This conference provides a valuable academic platform for scholars and researchers from different cultural backgrounds to share their ideas and insights. For the next 3 days, this event will focus on emerging trends like language and literary studies, including translation, digital humanities, etc. I extend my special thanks to our distinguished keynote speakers, Dr. M. Suresh Kumar Garu, Dr. Priyanka Tripathi Madam, Dr. C.H.E.A. Rajendra Prasad Sir, Dr. Jaygaru Mukundan Sir, Professor Radhika Venugopal Madam, Dr. Jalil Abdul Jalil, who graciously accepted our invitation and have come forward to enrich this conference with their scholarly insights and global perspectives. The response to this conference, as a convener, I have to add, it has been truly overwhelming. We received nearly 110 abstracts, of which a few were declined due to quality considerations. After a rigorous review process,
Memang saya kena sign dan saya kena terima kasih ya. Baik.
The response to this conference, as a convener, I would like to tell a brief report. It has been truly overwhelming. We received nearly 110 abstracts, of which a few were declined, which few were rejected due to quality considerations. After a rigorous review process, 82 research papers were selected, reflecting high academic merit. We are pleased to note that international participation from countries such as Malaysia, UK, Oman, and Iraq, alongside contributions from across India. 33 scholars out of 82 were sent their abstracts, which were very qualitative and reflecting high academic merit. The totally, this conference is meant for the scholars actually. I felt very happy that 40 to 42% of the participants, they're all from scholars. I sincerely thank all the others for their valuable contributions. I am confident that the keynote addresses and paper presentations will lead to intellectually stimulating discussions and foster meaningful academic collaborations. I take this opportunity to acknowledge the dedicated efforts of our co-convener, Dr. K. Venkatesh Madam, staff coordinators, Dr. N. Subir Kumar Sir, Mr. K. Kangal Kumar Sir, and faculty of Department of Engineering, IAC President, Dr. Sheikh Najib Sir, the Literary Suite Run Club, which is under the supervision of Department of English, hours, and student volunteers, whose teamwork and perseverance have made this international academic event possible. Before I conclude, I would like to reiterate that VCILLD 2026 is not merely a conference, but a shared intellectual journey. I sincerely hope that all participants find this forum enriching, engaging, and academically rewarding. With those words, I formally declare the 3-day international conference on the voices across cultural and literary discourse open and wish the conference every success. Thank you, Varda.
Thank you very much, sir, for your insightful and inspiring address.
What did he do?
We are deeply honored to have our principal of Bapatla Engineering College today for the event. Now I request Professor B. Srinivas Rao, sir, principal of Bapatla Engineering College, to deliver his message.
person you're calling is not answering. Please try later. మీరు కాల్ చేస్తున్న వ్యక్తి సమాధానం ఇవ్వడం లేదు. దయచేసి కొంత సమయం తర్వాత మళ్ళీ ప్రయత్నించండి. जिस व्यक्ति को कॉल
Yeah, hello. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You are audible, sir.
Okay,
sir,
okay,
you are-
right. Yeah. Respected members of the executive body of Bapatla Engineering Education Society, eminent resource persons, distinguished delegates, faculty colleagues, and dear participants. It's give me immense pleasure to warmly welcome you all to the 3-day international conference on voices across the cultures, innovations in languages and literary discourses, being organized by the Department of English in association with the Institutions Innovation Council, Bapatla Engineering College from 12th to 14th February 2026. At the outset, I would like to place on record my sincere gratitude to the executive body of the Bapatla Engineering College for their constant encouragement, guidance, and unwavering support. Their visionary leadership has enabled the institution to promote academic excellence, interdisciplinary research, and global academic engagements. I am extremely delighted to acknowledge the presence of our distinguished and eminent resource persons whose presence greatly enhances the academic value of the conference. Dr. M. Suresh Garu, Professor and Principal of Acharya Nagar University. Dr. Priyanka Madam, Priyanka Tripathi Madam, Indian Institute of Technology, Patna. Dr. C.H. Rajendra Prasad Garu, Professor and Head of the Department of English, Dravidian University. Dr. Jayakaran Mukundan, Professor, Faculty of Education Humanities, Unitary International University, Malaysia. Professor Radhika Venugopal Madam, School of Interdisciplinary Studies, Canada. Dr. Jalil Sir, Associate Professor, English, University of Al-Qadish, Iraq. We are truly honored by your gracious acceptance of our invitation. Your scholarly contribution and globally perspectives will undoubtedly enrich the deliberations and inspire meaningful academic discourse. I would like to appreciate the convener, Dr. P.V.N. Malesh Rao, sir, co-convener, Dr. Venkatalakshmi Madam, the staff coordinators and their organizing committee for their tireless efforts in planning and executing their international conference. Organizing an event of this meaningful magnitude requires dedication, teamwork, academic commitment, which is clearly reflected in today's proceedings. To all the participants and delegates, I encourage you to actively engage the technical sessions, paper presentations, and discussions. This conference offers a valuable platform to exchange ideas, explore innovations, perspectives in language and literary studies, and build lasting academic collaborations across the cultures. And I am confident that the deliberations over these 3 days will be intellectually stimulating and will contribute meaningful to research, teaching, and innovation in the field of language and literature. With these words, I wish the international conference VCILLD-2026 a grand success and hope it will be memorable and enriching and academically rewarding experience for everyone, okay, who present. Thank you all. I wish you a productive and inspiring conference. Thank you.
Thank you, sir,
Yeah.
for your
Yeah.
thank you, sir,
Yeah.
for your motivating and encouraging words.
Okay, madam. Thank you. Okay.
We are honored to welcome delegates from diverse institutions, regions, and research backgrounds. Over the next 3 days, your scholarly engagement, presentations, and discussions will form the intellectual level of this conference. I encourage each one of you to participate actively, share generously, question critically, and collaborate expansively. As we embark on this enriching academic journey, it is my sincere hope that this conference becomes a platform of inspiration, reflection, and innovation for all of us present here. With great pleasure and deep respect, I once again extend a warm welcome to all the distinguished guests, delegates, and participants. May VCILLD 2026 be a memorable and transformative experience. Thank you all. With this, the inaugural session is completed. Now, I would like to hand over the session to Dr. N. Sudhir Kumar sir for moderating first keynote speech of the conference. Over to you, sir.
Yes. Now, before going into the session with Jaykaran Mukundan sir, I would like to give a brief introduction about him. Professor Jaykaran Mukundan is the professor at the Faculty of Education and Humanities at Unitar International University, Malaysia. He was formerly professor at the Faculty of Education Studies, UPM, a public research university. His main research interests are in the teaching materials, teaching of writing, and teacher professional development. His research on materials evaluation led him to develop software for evaluating textbooks. These software won gold medals at the British Invention Show, London, UK in 2009 and at IENA, Nuremberg, Germany in 2010. He won the National Award for Academic Excellence in 2013 and the award was presented to him by the Prime Minister. He is very keen in teaching professional development and he has been chair of various conferences he founded. He has been chair for more than 20 ELT conferences. Sir, now over to you, sir. Jaykaran Mukundan, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
All right, very good. The title of my presentation is Researching Using Case Stories. I want to tell you that I've always been interested in reading and writing, and then I stumbled upon two short stories which were written by Catherine Lim and which I felt were entertaining as stories because reading them gave you a lot of pleasure. But at the same time, some of these stories are so disturbing that as a teacher and a teacher trainer, you are putting your thoughts into other areas as well. Like, for instance, would I consider using these stories as education for my new teachers, my in-service teachers, my teachers who are not exposed to actual classroom practice? So I thought to myself, these stories can teach more than entertain. Of course, short stories are written for entertainment because the primary focus of the writer is to sell her stories. And this writer was Catherine Lim, a Singaporean writer who was herself a teacher. And she wrote these two stories, which are rather disturbing. And I hope you've read them because I sent by email attachment these two stories. So what are case stories and what are case studies? Most people know what case studies are because they've been used very widely in the field of research, because most case studies differ from case stories because of their focus and purpose. Case stories are emotional, narrative-driven accounts that build a connection with a reader. So when I actually read these case stories, because they were stories originally written for entertainment, I like these case stories, and I decided that I was going to use them for other purposes. Okay. Case stories are emotional, narrative driven accounts that build a connection with the reader. Case studies are factual, data driven, analytical documents designed for in depth research and learning. Case stories prioritize the human experience and personal journey using storytelling techniques to resonate with the audience. So, what happened to me when I read these two case stories? I felt that the teachers were horribly wrong and that I sympathized a lot with the protagonists. And who are the protagonists? Two young girls in secondary school who were in writing classes. Both are in different settings, different writing classes, but both of them had the similar problems because they couldn't write well. That the language problems that they possess did not allow them to express themselves properly. The case study approach was used in this study is already gaining momentum in EFL, and not surprisingly, a lot of teachers find it useful. Why are case studies useful for teachers? They need to be deeply involved in cases while at TPD, Teacher Professional Development, something not very common at present in the profession when compared to the wide extent of its use in the legal and medical professions. You see, when you go to a doctor's clinic and you sit next to a doctor and he asks questions, why is the doctor asking questions? He's developing the case for you. He's developing the case so that he understands what you're going through and he understands how to go about evaluating you. And once he has done that, and then your next second visit or your third visit, you tell what happens, you tell him the treatment processes and how whether it has worked. He continues the story and develops the story until it's complete. That means when you are cured of something that he diagnosed. All right? So that's a case study approach. Cases are stories, and in this study, while both stories are classified as fiction, they are seen as simulations of what goes in real life. You see, stories are written, yes, they may be fiction and not really based on facts, but things like this happen in real life. All right? Yes. And Schulman, 1992, illustrates cases as an accounts of practical or strategic dilemmas that confront a teacher, but cautions that to be seen as contributing effectively by engaging teachers, the narrative must be representative of a class or type of dilemma. That means you must find a connection between this story and what happens in real life. Does this happen in real life? All right. Or is it a quandary that is common in situations where teachers work? So all these are important if we want to consider a case story as an account of a practical or strategic dilemma that confronts teachers. Another interesting thing about cases is that they show little respect for disciplinary boundaries. There's a potent mix of education, sociology, psychology, and a lot of other areas. Something researchers believe is excellent in modern day education. That is very simple, isn't it? Now teachers believe that they can teach without technology. Is that true? No. In the past, they could teach without technology. Then came about a time when they used the overhead transparencies, and they found that useful. Then they used PowerPoint slides and used PowerPoint as an aid to help them track on what they are actually teaching. You see, what happens is, these days, we have ChatGPT and other forms of AI. And because teachers do not understand the purpose of ChatGPT and AI, some of them instantly condemn this as avenues where students can cheat. Are they right? I don't think so. ChatGPT, especially AI, is excellent as a prompt, as a way in which you can scaffold your ideas. But you see, the problem when students plagiarize or copy things is because they are not taught the correct ways to use ChatGPT, for instance. All right? So that's it. So a case like this goes beyond the boundaries. Like, for instance, if you view these stories as two stories on how tragedy came upon because teachers neglected their students and the students committed suicide, you know, that brings in a lot of different boundaries. It's not about English alone. It is about the lack of counseling, the lack of parental support, the lack of planning on the part of the school to prevent these things from happening. So it amounts to a complex tapestry of issues, interwoven, messy, and recalcitrant, and rarely admitting a single right answer. So in these both stories, you might not find the right answer easily. Were these problems created because the school was at fault? Was society at fault? Were the teachers at fault? Were the students at fault? Was the family of the students at fault? So you see, there's no single right answer. So that's why we use case stories. We use case stories because there are multiple responses to a lot of things in the stories. And that's what Schumann said in 1992. In the context of this research, both the Catherine Lim stories, the names of the stories are The Teacher and Adeline and I Too. And these stories were written by Catherine Lim in 1978. And these stories were set in Singapore writing classrooms. And so they fulfill all the necessary requirements of what is deemed effective and engaging cases. So there are criterion as to how or whether you can use these stories as research material. First of all, they must be effective and engaging stories. These are writing classes set in Singapore classrooms where learners are preparing for their GCE, which is the exam they take before pre-university. All right? Writing for the GCE has been widely seen around the world as harshly assessed. Why is this harshly assessed? Because this took place in the 70s, late 70s in Singapore. But by that time, already in the US, the humanistic approaches to teaching writing and assessing writing was already turning and changing the focus of teachers into more humanistic people who are concerned about their learners than concerned about whether they pass or fail in the exams. So the GCE in Malaysia and Singapore has been widely seen around the world as harshly assessed. This is the Cambridge O levels, okay? And this was especially so in the context of colonialized countries like Malaysia and Singapore, where the demands placed on foreign language learners of English were unrealistic. And this I quote from my article, 2011. and teaching did not complement assessment. You see, it is one thing for countries like England to come and tell us that you must follow our system. But England, the GCE in England is appropriately placed. It is an exam that is supposed to evaluate first language learners. That means people whose mother tongues are the English language. But is it applicable from the second language, foreign language context? For one, you must know in a country like Malaysia and Singapore, a lot of immigrants, especially the Chinese, get educated in Chinese medium schools at primary level and then switch to English as the medium of language in the secondary level. Obviously, there will be lots of problems. There will be lots of problems simply because there will be lots of problems simply because the language that was taught, the medium of instruction was in the first language, the mother tongue. So Chinese students went to primary school and were taught in Chinese. Indians, immigrants from India, most of them were Tamils from Tamil Nadu. They were taught in Tamil because Tamil primary schools existed. And then the problems arise when they go to secondary school, where most of them have to study in English. Definitely, they will not have the sophisticated skills required to write in English. These stories have come at a time in the 1970s when there were significantly large numbers of suicide cases among the student population in Singapore. And this is from Chia et al. 2010, especially between October and November. Why October and November? Why are these months special? Because these were the months where final examinations took place. Students were extremely anxious and depressed if their results were bad, and they decide to take their lives because of the embarrassment and the humiliation of going back to tell their failed grades to their parents. See what I mean? So this is a serious problem in the late 70s, early 80s in Singapore. There are still a lot of suicide cases as a result of stress and the depressing, threatening environments in the school system. And so there are still a lot of these suicides. But you must remember in the 70s was the time when Singapore was trying to race towards becoming a developing country. And a lot of people, young people, became sacrificed in the process because many people couldn't take the stress of the exam systems, about the stress in the rat race where everybody was trying to beat each other and get the best grades because there were very few opportunities, very few universities in these countries. They couldn't accommodate all the passes. Only the top 10 or 20% managed to go into universities. So all these things were actual things that took place, but in the form of a story written by Catherine Bell. Well, it was used. These two stories are used in the literature exam in the GCE in Singapore. But ironically, it's never used for teacher training, which this is my case. I believe that this is These two stories are really good for teacher professional development, and you can do wonderful research when you start using these materials as research materials. Now, for those who have not read the two stories, this you take a few minutes to read on the screen. The stories. The first one is Adeline Ngai Chu. I will read to you, so in case you have not read, you can follow. The protagonist, Adeline Ngai Chu, sees her teacher after she fails the end of year English language test. She asks for extra marks to pass, but the teacher dismisses her request. Adeline takes her own life as a result of this. She commits suicide. Most of the story describes the debate in the staff meeting, where teachers debate on the issues that have emerged, all related to assessment, like whether marks should be awarded to borderline cases or whether scripts after evaluation should be returned to students. All the arguments in the staff room concern teachers trying to shift the blame away from themselves or figuring out excuses to justify their action and that of the school. The class teacher claimed that Adeline was unstable, although she had been excellent in secondary 1 and 2, but seemed ignorant of the fact that her inaction over 2 years probably was a big factor to consider in Adeline's death. Adeline's parents, when meeting the teacher, claimed that she had the habit of constantly scribbling in her diary, something that they were against. The parents did not even allow her to watch television. She only studied. Upon her death, they found a note addressed to her parents, apologizing for being a disappointed. Her diary entry showed her mental state. She was terribly disturbed in mind. Look at the next text. The next story was called The Teacher. Tan Gyok Peng, the protagonist, a secondary 4 student, committed suicide as she was unable to cope with her studies. Her father wanted her to work rather than study so as to supplement the household income. Eventually, her mother convinces the father to allow her to continue her studies. A lot of the story focuses on staff room scenes, where Tan Gyok Peng's teacher is discussing the language errors in the essays of the girl. At the end of the story, however, the reader is made aware that Tan Gyok Peng is indeed a clever student. She had language problems in her compositions, but she never lacked ideas. She had written on the topic, The Stranger, but the teacher failed her as he thought she had gone completely out of point by describing the stranger as her own father. The teacher had missed the clever manipulation of the title, the metaphorical description of her father as stranger. The writer of the story actually made a fool out of Tan Gyok Peng's teacher, who had no clue of how potent metaphors are. So you see, in this case, it's not Tan Gyok Peng, that mousy little girl. That's what the teacher describes her in a conversation with one of his colleagues in the staff room. And she said Tan Gyok Peng was actually very bad in her use of language. But somehow or other, she had really good story. She actually manipulated the title that the teacher had given, The Stranger, to actually show that the stranger in the story is actually the metaphor that she's using, that her father is the stranger. Wasn't that interesting? Yes. That's how teachers fail students, you see. The student is cleverer than the teacher. The student is cleverer, in this case, than the teacher. Now, what would your comments be about the teachers in both stories? Were they responsible? Did they show empathy? Are they worthy of being teachers? All right. So these are questions for you to to take in. Okay. Now, but let's start with this first. I would like some interaction with the audience, especially, since you've told me, I've sent the stories earlier to you. I want you to tell me, what do you think about these teachers? Can people start talking? Yes? Can you use the mic to speak to me? Are you all there? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. They will type. They will type their questions in the chat box, sir.
I know, but the chat box is not very good here
Okay.
because my Teams has a problem with this computer.
Okay, sir.
I'm not
Okay, sir.
able to-
Yeah. Just give me a minute, sir.
Yeah. You don't have to type, What you do is you tell me who do you think the teachers in both stories or the learners were responsible? Was family responsible? Was the school responsible? Or
So all the participants, you can interact with Jai Karan, sir. Yes. All the participants, you can unmute yourself now. Participants can now unmute yourself. If anyone wants to interact with sir, he has some questions, and that will lead to a very good discussion. All the participants, now you can unmute yourself.
do you hear me?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir. I'm just asking the participant to participate. And okay, Paul Francis sir says he has problem with microphone. And any more questions? If you can just type it out, sir. I will read it out for sir.
Yes, you can type out and you can read it out. Yes.
So he says that
Yeah,
what I say, we can blame the whole system. He says that whole education system to be blamed.
that's true. Very good. Who was the guy who actually wrote this comment?
His name is Paul Francis.
Paul Francis. That's an excellent answer. Very good answer. But I really want you all to explain what you mean by societal problems. I mean, what was it that society was not right about? Because we have so many religions.
He further
Why is
wrote,
this-
he further wrote, we cannot blame only teachers or parents.
Yes. But what does society comprise of? People like teachers and parents. But why is it happening? So are there contributions by parents and teachers in this decline of values and things like that? And in this kind of setting where learners are put under so much pressure, and what kind of dilemma is this? What kind of problems have been imposed by society?
Yes, you can type it out, sir. Paul Francis, sir, you can type it out. So he wrote that maybe everyone is expecting them to prove themselves, their identity in society.
But you have to be specific, What about society? Does this thing happen in India often? You don't
Of
have
course,
to type.
sir.
Yes, of course
course.
there is. How widespread is this?
Especially in the South India, these things
Yes.
happen a lot, sir. There is a
Yeah.
pressure of IITs, NITs. I mean, these kind of pressure is always building, sir.
Yeah. Why
So-
does it not happen so often in the north?
In North, there is diversification of education, sir. For example, in North India, they expect children to study various subjects, whereas in South India, majorly they insist on engineering.
On engineering?
Yes, sir.
All right. Engineering and medical, right?
Yes,
And
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. So all these
Engineering
things
and
are,
medicine.
yeah. So these things are, you see, what happens is it's not the ambition of young people, it's the ambition of parents and older people that actually they want, father doesn't become a doctor, but wants his son to become a doctor. This
Yes,
is
sir.
the kind of problem that young people inherit. And they may not be as clever or as their parents, but they're forced into a field where they have to struggle. Please keep this interactive so that I don't hear my own voice alone, yeah? You can interrupt me as well. Any other?
Dr. Tulsi Rani, madam, she wrote that parents should think about skills rather than marks.
That's true. That's the fault of the assessment system. And lately, there are some people who have actually talked about this. You see, one of them is an Indian who is from Kerala but studied in Bangalore. He's a famous professor in the US right now. His name is Professor Anthony Coonan. is a big name in assessment, and he actually talked about fairness and justice in assessment. You see, is there fairness in assessment? Is there justice in assessment? So Professor Anthony Coonan talked about these things. He said that a lot of examinations are not fair. That's because when he moved from India, and went to the US, although his BA was in English and teacher training, and his master's was also in English and teacher training, he went to the US and he was asked to do a TOEFL exam. See it now? He was asked to do a TOEFL exam, which he felt it was very unfair. It's like trying to degrade him, trying to embarrass him, because he's already good in English and people ask him to do the TOEFL exam. So that is. Why was I muted? Hello? Can you all hear me?
You're audible, sir. Please carry on.
If I ask a question, please respond quickly so that I know there are no technical problems with this presentation. Okay?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Yes. Now, what happens is, for Professor Anthony Coonan, this was like a racial humiliation. That because he was Indian and he went to the US, although he was already having a master's degree in English, he was asked to do a TOEFL test because they never respected the quality of English in India at that time. So these are things that are issues which were actually brought forward by Professor Anthony Coonan, who is now a major leader in the field of assessment, based in the US. Now, what else do you think? What are the problems? Societal problems come about because society comprises of everybody. Teachers, learners, families, all form society. What was the problem? Was it a problem of greed? Was this a problem of greed? Can somebody respond to it by telling me? Yes? Can you
Yes,
hear
sir.
me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Was this a problem of greed? Was modernization a cause? Was consumerism a cause? Was the red race the cause of these suicides? All of them, right? It looks like many of you did not read the stories which I sent earlier, but never mind. Dr. Tuyasi, is that Dr. Tuyasi Rani? I can't hear you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You mentioned pedagogical systems. How much do you know about the pedagogical system to comment on these two issues? Can you please tell me what you know was the major pedagogical issue here?
What I mean is the approaches in English language theories, we have to change into the industrial needs.
What are industrial needs?
Industry needs means that technology is developing, sir, right?
Yes.
As per the technological changes, that we should change some systems. That's my opinion.
Well, you know, although this is a big issue for me, yes, pedagogical systems need to change, but not in the way you have mentioned it. Because, well, what is the industry? The industry is, in this case, your learners in the classrooms, right? Right?
No, learners not in the. I'm not talking about the learners in the classrooms.
Then you're talking about who?
Actually, we are working in engineering colleges. The students are going to the IT sector, some other softwares. Yes, for them.
Yeah, you know, that is a too broad notion. What you need is to actually bring it down to the pedagogical system that has failed for the simple reason writing was always associated with assessment only. Is that true?
Yes, yes.
Yes. So that's the pedagogical fault. Should writing be only be restricted to assessment? Why do you have to assess writing all the time? Because what goes in the classroom? The teacher goes into the classroom, writes a topic on the board, and what do the students do? What do the students do when they see the topic on the board?
Obviously, they start writing.
Yes. Is there any preparation for the students?
No, not at all.
Not at all. So very teacher-centered teaching of writing. Not at all learner-centered. What do learners need? If you go back to the history of the writing revolution, which took place in the 70s in the US, everything started in the US. What happened? Everybody decided that the teacher was at fault. There was too much teacher-centeredness. Everything was about teaching writing only to be assessed. And there was no teaching of writing. It was just based on learners copying models of good writing, memorizing it, and if the title doesn't come out in the exam, they fail. So what did the advocates of the process approach to writing? What did they suggest? They said teachers need to teach students how to generate ideas first. Teachers need to actually get students to believe that fluency is more important than accuracy in the beginnings. But in these two Singapore classrooms, were the teachers interested in fluency?
No.
Dr. Lakshmi, were the teachers in the classroom interested in getting the students to achieve fluency? Ajendra Singh, can you respond to that, please? Can you show your faces, please? Turn on your videos and show your faces.
Cameras are disabled, sir.
Anyway, it's okay. So what were the factors that allowed for writing pedagogy to be so contaminated by teacher-centeredness?
Tulsi
Tulsi
Rani
madam.
madam, you can unmute your video, no problem.
Okay.
You can unmute your video, ma'am. Tulsi Rani ma'am.
So can you please someone tell me why was this pedagogical system wrong? Because in the 70s, people said the pedagogical system in the US for writing was wrong because they were only learning correct models, which they memorized and they tried to put it in the exam papers. But memorization is not the way in which you should learn writing. It possibly could be a strategy if you memorize some ways of expressing yourself. But if you look at the wider picture, writing is very special. You develop fluency first. When at primary school, students make mistakes, if you correct them straight away, the student doesn't want to write anymore because he thinks he's always doing wrong things. But you can encourage fluency as a teacher by actually ignoring some of the mistakes and saying, look, I can see some language mistakes in your composition, but you don't worry, your ideas are good. Keep improving on your ideas. And slowly you will get used to some language errors that you feel that you have committed and edit them. There must be a difference between revision and editing. Revision is about changing ideas. Editing is about clearing language problems. So you see, the pedagogy was wrong. Why? Because the Singapore exam system emphasized that you pass. No failures would be accepted because it was a public examination. If you fail, you're out. You pass, you get on, and you get a good grade. These were the problems. How about the parents? Were they at fault? Yes? Somebody can answer this? Paul Francis. Can you answer this? Who can answer this? No? Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Can
sir.
you hear? Okay, good. Second question, did they show empathy? Why is empathy important? What is empathy? Empathy is when you show concern for the well-being of your learners. See, since nobody is trying to make this interactive, and I'm disappointed, I will tell you what it is. All right? Did they show empathy? No. The teachers, both of them were actually quite responsible for the deaths of both learners because in the case of Tan Giok Ping, the first case story, the teacher was only interested in talking bad things about Tan Giok Ping's errors in the classroom. He says things that I go blue in the face when I see these grammatical errors. But Tan Giok Ping had some strengths. She manipulated the title, The Stranger, to actually tell the reader that the stranger actually was her own father. Yeah. And that is a strength that Tan Gyeok Ping had, because in that story, she actually told the teacher, who was quite ignorant about even the use of metaphors in compositions, that the teacher was very, very uninformed, and Tan Gyeok Ping showed that the teacher is not ready to be of strength to help learners who already have some strengths, but he chose to only see her weaknesses. So my other question, following question would be, are these teachers worthy of being teachers? Can somebody answer that? Can somebody answer that? Yes? No? Shakila Banu, can you answer that? How about Dr. Lakshmi? Can you answer that?
Shakila Banu, ma'am says that yes, sir. Her reply is yes, sir.
Why can't she answer it herself?
Ma'am, you can unmute yourself and talk to sir.
Yes, Shakila, can you elaborate on your answer? Can you elaborate on your answer? Anyway, let's go to the final slide because we are running out of time. What are the research possibilities in using stories like this? They're useful for research. Can the dean answer? Can Dr. Malleswara answer this question? What are the research possibilities in using stories like this? Yes? Where is Dr. Malleswara? Hello? Dr. Malleswara, are you still here? Yes? Yes? Hello? Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Then is this Dr. Malleswara?
No, sir. No, sir.
Where is Dr. Malleswara?
Just a second.
Okay, if that's the case, I would like to conclude this presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We sincerely appreciate the clarity with which you explained research through case studies. It is indeed a very good area to explore for the research. And I thank you very much for your patience, especially with the late at the beginning. We thank you very much, sir. I also thank all the participants for your active participation. There is a feedback sheet that was shared in the chat box. You can fill it out. Thank you very much, sir. Now now I'll hand over the proceedings to K. Venkatalakshmi, madam.
Thank you, sir. Now it's time for transition to technical sessions. I request all the presenters and session chairs of session 1 and 2 to kindly join the respective sessions links shared with you. Presenters are requested to share PPTs and begin your presentations as per the schedule. And interested participants are welcome to join and listen to the research contributions. Thank you once again and wish you all a fruitful conference. Thank you, sir.
Madam, this feedback is not opening, madam.
We'll look into it, ma'am.
Okay, madam. It is asking access. Request access is asking.
Madam? Tulasi, madam?
Yes, madam.
What is the problem with the link, madam?
When I open it, it is asking mail access request.
Okay, we'll look into it, madam. Participants and chairing session, please kindly join the respective session links that was shared.
Okay.
I request all the presenters and session chairs of session 1 and 2 kindly join the respective session link shared with you yesterday and today. I request all the presenters and session chairs of session 1 and 2 kindly join the respective session link shared with you. And presenters are requested to share your PPTs and begin your presentations as per the schedule. Interested participants are welcome to join and listen to the research contributions. Thank you once again and wish you all a fruitful conference. Thank you.
So, what about this feedback link, madam?
Ma'am, we'll share it in WhatsApp group or we'll find another link.
Yes, we got it, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, madam.